There comes a moment in your life when you get tired, not physically, not dramatically, but quietly. Tired of explaining yourself to people who were never trying to understand you in the first place. And that tiredness feels less like defeat and more like recognition. A soft knowing that your energy is too sacred to be spent convincing others of your heart, your intentions, your choices, or your worth. You begin to see how much of your life has been shaped by the need to be understood, how often you've paused your healing to justify your boundaries, how much peace you've lost trying to clarify your character in rooms where your voice was never going to matter. And it hits you that explaining yourself has become its own kind of noise, constant, draining, unkind noise. So you stop. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, because the Stoics remind you that the opinions of others are not your responsibility, that your virtue lies in your actions, not in anyone's interpretation of them. And the moment you stop trying to manage other people's narratives is the moment your life begins to quiet itself. You stop offering long explanations to people who twist your words into confusion. You stop reopening wounds for those who only want to inspect them. You stop defending your path to those who've never walked beside you. And something unexpected happens. The silence feels like a homecoming. The world doesn't fall apart when you stop explaining. It becomes simpler. Relationships become clearer when you stop over. People reveal their intentions when you stop justifying yours. And you, for the first time in a long time, start feeling the weight of your own presence. You start realizing how much pressure you placed on yourself to be palatable, to be understood, to be chosen, and the liberation that comes with no longer needing to be explained feels like finally exhaling after carrying invisible expectations for years. Your life gets quieter because you no longer performing transparency for people who haven't earned access to your truth. You no longer narrating your inner world for an audience that only hears what confirms their assumptions. You're no longer trying to prove your goodness to people committed to misunderstanding it. And in that quiet, you find something you were never able to reach while explaining yourself. You begin living with intention instead of defense. You begin speaking with clarity instead of apology. You begin walking away without the long monologue. You begin trusting your own understanding of your life more than anyone else's interpretation of it. And the more you lean into this silence, the more peaceful it becomes. Your boundaries no longer require justification. Your decisions no longer need permission. Your healing no longer asks for validation. Your growth no longer seeks applause. You stop trying to explain why you changed, because growth is its own explanation. You stop trying to justify why you left, because peace is its own justification. You stop defending your choices, because anything made in alignment doesn't need an argument. It simply needs consistency. The world around you may not understand, but you finally do. Explaining yourself was never a path to peace. It was a distraction from it. And as the noise of justification fades, you become grounded in a deeper truth. People who truly care don't need explanations, and people who demand explanations will never truly care. The Stoics teach that freedom begins where the need for external approval ends, and you start to feel the truth of that in your bones. Because your inner world becomes softer, steadier, quieter when you no longer force it into language for those who aren't listening. And in this silence, a new kind of strength grows, not the loud, defiant kind, but the grounded, peaceful kind that comes from knowing who you are without needing anyone else to confirm it. You become someone whose peace is not negotiable, whose presence does not shrink to be understood, whose choices honor a deeper wisdom that explaining could never express. So you let the world think what it wants while you live in a truth you no longer feel compelled to translate, and slowly, gently, beautifully, your life becomes quieter. Not because it got smaller, but because you stopped handing your peace to anyone who demanded an explanation.